I'm Michael with WriterSanctuary. Today we're going to be taking a closer look at the planning boards in Reedsy. Now there is a big difference between the free version and the paid version. I'm going to show you what those are right now. So on this screen I am logged in as my free version and I'm going to log into my book. And in this case you'll notice that I don't have dark mode enabled, and that's because it's only available in the paid version of the writing tool. Of course you can always get around that by installing a dark mode plugin for Chrome, and there's quite a few of them out there. Anywho, let's take a look at what you can do with the planning board. And as you can see, you really can't do much for free. Essentially, all I can do is give it a label and then a description. Now, that might be enough for depending on what kind of book you're writing or just to help you remember a few things, but that's pretty much it. And it's quite disappointing for being free. But, I guess it could help. Personally, out of the two things that you can buy from Reedsy Studio, I would put money into the outlining board only because of all the different things you can do with it. So with that being said, let's take a look at the premium version of the planning board. Now this is my personal account that I use for, well, I've published Kingmaker, Shadows of Atlantic City, I'm working on Fury. This is my paid version of Reedsy Studio, which I love. So we're going to click into my book. And now let's take a look at the planning board. That's the icon up here. This is default whether you're using free version or the paid version of Reedsy Studio. And this is the first thing you get. Now in this planning board here, we have examples of how you can structure your book. So you got your planning, which includes the getting started and hero's journey. You can learn about that. How acts are separated, and it gives you an example of Bilbo Baggins all the way through, I think it's The Hobbit. So it essentially just gives you ideas. Now you can use these by clicking into them and then changing whatever you want to help you with the flow. I prefer to create a whole new one. So if you have an idea of how you want to proceed without having to read through it, which I think is a good practice, even for 5 minutes, just take a look and see how acts are set up. It could help you with the flow and the setup of your own book. But let's go ahead and create a whole brand new board. So with that, we go over to this plus sign here. We're going to create a board, and we're going to call this board world building. And then just because we're dorks, so we want to keep track of everything, we're going to change the icon here, and we're going to search for a picture of the world and click on it, and then create our board. As you'll see, it'll appear on the left, and then we can click into it at any point. So if we go back to our manuscript, we can see that we can go back to our world building with just a click of the mouse. So now that we have a whole new board, we're going to add a folder called cities. So we go up here to add, or we can click on the middle one. Doesn't really matter. They both do the same thing. And we're going to create a folder, and we're going to name this folder cities. And because we're dorks, we're going to find a picture of a city so that we can just visualize it. Bam, and hit save. And this will take us to the cities folder. Okay, so now that we have a section of where we're going to put all of our cities to keep them organized, we're going to create a whole new one. Now to do that, we have a couple of different methods. We can create it by scratch, or we can use Reedsy's templates. So we're going to go ahead and click on the add button, and we're going to use Reedsy's templates. So let's go to world building. And from here, we can go to settings, and we can click on the city. If we click on the city name, Reedsy is going to show you what it's going to look like if we use this template. So it gives us a little bit of a background, gives us some default settings that we can add to our city, and then a lot of different Q&A stuff, questions and answers that you answer yourself to help you build this city. And as you can see, there's quite a few of them. Now you don't have to use any of those. In fact, if you use the template, you can delete this Q&A section, or you can add more to it. So let's go ahead and use this template. And now we can add our new city to it. In this case, in this book, we're going to add New York. And then we do some research and fill in the rest of the information. But I want this book to be futuristic. So we have to be a little bit more creative about how New York is going to look in, say, 50 years. But that is completely up to you. Okay, so what if you don't want to use a template and you just want to add a city on your own? Well, all you got to do is click on the Add button, and we're going to add a blank note. The Reedsy will take us to it, and then we can just put in New York, and then we can add our own description. We can add our own attributes. In this case, we can add all kinds of information, numbers, text, description, checkbox, link, date, and at relationship. We can also add groups. So if we wanted to add a group of information, such as a group for population or a group for biodiversity or climate, and there's all kinds of different things you can do for your group. Again, completely up to you. We can also add more to our Q&A. We can add our own questions and answers. This helps us flesh out the location. And if we don't want anything there, we can always delete the attributes. In fact, we can delete the note if we don't want it. And we can go into each one. Let's go ahead and clear this one as well. And there we go. Now, one thing that I used Reedsy Studio for a lot when I was writing Shadows of Atlantic City was to hold all the research I did for 1870s Atlantic City. And there was quite a bit of it, to be sure. I mean, I'm old, but I'm not that old. Okay, so to add the research, we're going to add a blank note. Let's say that we are creating a Mayan-like species. Of course, we would give it its actual name. So, unfortunately, I can't tell you what that is because what I have in mind is based on my next book, Fury, and I want that to be a bit of more of a surprise. So this is kind of a spoiler alert. But let's say that we wanted some research on creating our Mayan-like species. So we took to YouTube and watched a couple of videos. So we're going to add a link, and we're going to call this National Geographic. I can type it. What that is that's telling me this is the creator or the website or the book or whatever it is that's online as a resource. That tells me what it came from. And this came from National Geographic's YouTube channel. So what we'd do after that is we'd go here and we'd paste the link. Now this is the link to the video, and we can continue from there. As you notice, there is an icon on the right here. So if I click on that, it'll take me directly to the YouTube video for the Mayans. Now you can do that with any online resource. In fact, Shadows of Atlantic City is full of links to reference materials so that if I need more information or if I forget something, I can easily access it. So here's a good example of how you can group things with a folder. We're going to add our group, and we're going to call this video research. And then we're going to drag and drop this video under it. So what that does is it collects all the video research stuff together so you can eyeball it if you have a ton of different things in the way. So if we add another attribute, we'll say, we're going to do a text one. Just a reminder. Fill in the info. As you can see, there is this bar that separates the group, and it just kind of helps you keep things organized. Now, you don't necessarily have to use that. I didn't when I wrote Shadows of Atlantic City, but I can see how it could be useful. And at the bottom, underneath the attributes, you can add all the other information. I wrote out character arcs and character needs and wants so that I remembered that I wanted certain characters to develop a certain way. I added in things like their banes, their benefits. So you can add quite a bit to your planning board. Really comes down to how much detail you want to flesh out in your novel. So in the Reedsy planning board, you can add as many planning boards as you want. You can create another board. We can call this one, let's call this one outline so that we know that this is the details of the book itself. Let's say that we want to add an icon to it because we're dorks. We're going to go to board settings, and we're going to change this icon to a book because this is what we're using to write the book. We're going to hit save, and it changes the icon. And let's say we're going to add a note. Now this is how I wrote Shadows of Atlantic City. We're going to call this the outline, outline of the book. And then down here is where I put in the details of the outline. Now, the reason why I put my stuff in brackets is that a lot of times in the outline, I will copy and paste them into chapters so that I remember I'm going from point A to point B. Whenever I finish writing that segment, I delete the bracketed section and move on. But you can outline however you'd like, whatever works for you. Okay, so with the outline in the planning board, if we go back to our manuscript, we can't really see, we're going to go to manuscript, we can't really see that the outline. So kind of hopefully this is one of the reasons why I copy and paste. But if you want to be able to see your outline or any note that you create in the planning board, all you got to do is pin it. To do that, we're going to go back to our outline or planning board of any kind. Now from here, we can either click on this pin icon or we can go into it and pin it from here. So if we pin the note, that's now pinned. If we go back to our manuscript, the outline is now available. Of course, this also could be virtually any kind of information that you saved in the planning board. Unfortunately, Reedsy Studio only lets you pin one thing at a time. So it can be useful, but also if you have to shift around through your research, it can get kind of redundant. This is one of the reasons why I use dual monitors. And in Reedsy Studio, you can have your writing surface on one screen and your planning board on another by opening another tab. Of course, when I'm writing a book, I usually have my research on the other tab. You can also shrink down Reedsy Studio to be extremely thin, and you can fit the writing and the planning board on one screen. Now, to do that, all you gotta do is just grab the side of it, shrink it down, and you can see Reedsy Studio will adapt to your surface area. But you can see that the pinned note is in the way, so we're going to close that. And then we can open up another tab and put the research on the other side of it. Then we can write and look at the research at the same time. So we're going to put this back to where it was. It's responsive. So what if there's a planning board that you don't need anymore? Or perhaps you just want to delete the default so it doesn't confuse you. You click on the planning board that you have there. You can see this is the default that comes with every installation or every creation of your books. We're going to go over to board settings and we're going to click on delete the board. It's going to ask us, do we want to delete the board and its content or delete the board and move contents to another board? I don't want the default stuff, so I'm just going to delete all of it all at once. And it's gone. That way, all I have now is my world building and my outline. So there you have it. That is kind of a crash course in how the outline works. There's all kinds of things you can do with it. You can create whole characters and add attributes, such as, let's say we want to do someone's birthday. Well, if I spell birthday correctly, that would be awesome. Let's see, 1980. And it'll be saved there forever. So you can add attributes galore. You can add a checkbox. I used a checkbox when I was setting up certain things I wanted to be in the book. So I can add a checkbox here, research landscape. And then if I was done with it, I would click it off and be done with true. It's extremely helpful if you're trying to remember certain things. But as you can see, there's quite a bit you can do with your outline. Really just depends on how much you want to put into your world building and character development details. I mean, you can go hog wild with it. I've seen some authors go absolutely bonkers, especially with stuff that they're not going to use in their book, but it gives the character more personal appeal. I usually just add stuff that I want to wind up using, but it is up to you on how you want to set it up. There is no right or wrong answer as long as it helps you write your story. Like with Shadows at Night City, I used the planning board to not just create the character bios, but I would use an image of the character who I'd want to play that character, and then based my description off of what I see that character. So yes, that's why I had like a very young version of Kurt Russell playing as the Marshal in the book, and I have a thing for Kate Beckinsale in Van Helsing, and she was the model I used for Elizabeth. And then River Phoenix's character in Indiana Jones, I used him as a model for Charlie. So anyway, I uploaded those images and I was able to base my description off of what the actor is like, and it helped me bring them a little bit more to life, I guess. But yeah, I'm a bit of a dork. You don't have to do that. I just think of when I write a book, I think of it in terms of what would it look like if it was on the screen, and I'd try to write those characters' parts for those actors. And I know that they would never play it, especially since a lot of it's based on their much younger selves. So it just helps with the description is all. But yeah, I had researched links to a lot of stuff in Atlantic City and cultural references for the 1870s. And so I have lots of different links in Reedsy Studio for that material. So that way, if I ever needed to reference it or if I needed to refresh my memory on something, then it was readily accessible. So anyway, that's how you run the outline and the planning board in Reedsy. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, go leave it in the comment section. If there's anything else you'd like me to dive deeper in for the planning board, feel free to leave me a comment. And yeah, it's easily one of the most worthwhile things you can pay for Reedsy. If I had my choice between the two, like I said, I would easily pick the outlining portion of Reedsy, though the writing portion does have its benefits if you pay for it. But there's just so much more you can do for the paid version in Reedsy Studio for the outline. Anywho, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. For more videos about self-publishing, blogging, freelance writing, or anything else I cover, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. I think that's going to do it for me today. I'm going to get to planning out the next part of this series. I'll see you next time.